Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the absolutely wild, historic 2026 World Cup Final. I mean, billions of people tuned in expecting this cinematic, storybook ending to an incredible month of football, right? But to actually understand what went down on that pitch, we can't just look at it as a normal championship game. We have to frame it as a massive tactical clash. We're talking about a genuine battle of philosophies, Spain's beautifully disciplined, structured system going head-to-head with Argentina's incredibly cynical, gritty physicality. It was the ultimate test of what actually wins on the biggest stage of them all.
Okay, 117. Let that number just sit with you for a second. That is the exact minute Argentina registered their very first shot of the match. Think about the reality of that. The defending world champions played for nearly 2 full hours of grueling, high-stakes football before they managed to aim a single shot at the Spanish goal. It instantly signaled to everyone watching that this was not your typical free-flowing football match. It was a brutal, exhausting test of patience and discipline that really set the tone for one of the tensest finals we've seen in a long time.
So let's look at the ultimate matchup. To set the stage, we're at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. You've got the defending world champions, Argentina, squaring off against the surging European champions, Spain. And the stakes here, absolutely astronomical. On one hand, you had what everyone thought would be Lionel Messi's fairy tale farewell, his last dance on the global stage. On the other, Spain is chasing history, trying to secure back-to-back major tournament trophies. Plus, you have this crazy layer of poetic tension because MetLife Stadium is the exact same site of Messi's massive heartbreak back in the 2016 Copa America, where he briefly retired. The ghosts of the past were definitely looming over this pitch.
Which brings us to a real clash of styles.
Because, tactically, these two teams could not have been further apart. Spain came in with a fluid, team-based passing system. They were committed to their high pressing, holding on to possession, and just trusting their process. Argentina, on the flip side, clearly recognized they were outmatched technically in the midfield, so they opted for this deeply physical, suffocating approach. They literally tried to drag the game into the mud, absorbing pressure with cynical fouls just to break up Spain's rhythm. Basically, they were willing to suffer defensively, hoping for a moment of individual magic that, spoiler alert, never came.
And you can see that offensive disparity perfectly right here. Spain utterly dominated the ball, putting up 20 total shots over the 120 minutes. Argentina managed 2. A 20-2 shot ratio in a major international final. That is incredibly rare. It paints a picture of a match where one team is actively trying to play football and win on their terms, and the other is just entirely focused on surviving and disrupting. It was completely one-way traffic.
The turning point is really hidden right here in the underlying numbers. Spain racked up 1.94 expected goals, so based purely on the statistical quality of their chances, they really should have scored about twice. Argentina's attacking threat, meanwhile, was virtually zero until they were already losing in extra time. And you could see it playing out in real time. While Spain stayed meticulously patient, Argentina's frustration just kept boiling over as the physical toll of defending for 2 solid hours mounted.
Now, the international media definitely noticed this. Writers and analysts were harshly criticizing Argentina's approach, noting that this whole underdog, muddy battle act felt pretty unbecoming of a defending champion. I mean, they scraped through the earlier rounds with late goals and shootouts, sure, but their total lack of tactical sophistication was glaringly exposed the second they ran into a well-oiled Spanish machine that simply refused to get riled.
But eventually, you reach the breaking point. Let's walk through how this tension built up. We have this grueling 0-0 slog for the first 90 minutes. Legs are getting heavy, tactical discipline is fraying, and then boom, an unforced error in stoppage time accelerates everything into chaos. That leads straight into extra time, where Spain finally breaks the deadlock, leaving Argentina frantically scrambling with no time left on the clock.
Let's zoom in on that 93rd minute, because this was it. This was the critical turning point of the entire final. Enzo Fernandez, who was already sitting on a yellow card, makes this incredibly clumsy late challenge. The referee really has no choice but to send him off. It was just pure heavy-legged fatigue. And this red card left an already exhausted Argentina down to 10 men, trying to chase Spanish shadows that they frankly had no hope of catching.
Now, despite all that, we absolutely have to give a massive shout out to Emi Martinez. 12 saves. He made 12 saves, which is the most ever recorded in a World Cup final. He was flying everywhere, single-handedly keeping his team alive. But here's the thing, relying on your goalkeeper to make 12 spectacular saves, that is not a sustainable tactic. Even an all-time great performance from him just wasn't enough to force a penalty shootout against Spain's relentless pressure.
and that sets up Spain's winning moment.
This is where Spain finally cracked the code, just 37 seconds into the second period of extra time. The buildup is just beautifully clinical. Pedro Porro curls this gorgeous, outswinging cross deep to the back post. Nico Williams rises up, cleverly nods the ball back across the face of the goal into open space, and substitute Ferran Torres is right there to just absolutely hammer a half volley past Martinez. It was a breathtaking sequence of pure, systematic brilliance.
I love this post-match quote from Torres because it perfectly humanizes all of this tactical analysis. He said he didn't even think. He just shot with the power of all the Spanish people. It's a great reminder that behind all the expected goals and the high-pressing systems, there are real guys out there carrying the crushing weight of their entire nation. In that split second, it's just pure instinct and emotion.
And to really wrap your head around Spain's dominance, get this. They became the first champion in men's World Cup history to concede just one single goal across an entire tournament. One goal. Everyone rightfully talks about their beautiful passing, but their defensive discipline was supreme. By controlling the ball and pressing high, their defense was historically remarkably impenetrable.
So, what are we left with? It's really a tale of two legacies.
54. That is the surprisingly low number of touches Lionel Messi had over the entire 120-minute match. To put that in perspective, he was averaging nearly 78 touches a game for the rest of the tournament. He was just completely on the periphery, isolated, and totally unable to conjure up the magic his team so desperately needed.
How exactly does that happen? Well, it wasn't by accident. Spain completely erased him from the game using flawlessly coordinated zonal marking. They cut off all the supply lanes. On the rare occasions he did get the ball, he was instantly swarmed by 2 or 3 red shirts. Spain basically proved that a cohesive, disciplined defensive unit will totally dismantle a team if they're overly reliant on a lone genius to constantly bail them out.
And the poetry of this is it's brutal. A full decade ago, a younger Messi lost the 2016 Copa America final in this exact same stadium. He wept on the pitch, he briefly retired. Now, 10 years later, he suffers this grueling, exhausting defeat in the very same venue without even registering a single shot on target. The weight of that history echoing around that stadium is just profound.
Which really forces us to ask, was this it? As Spain celebrated on the pitch, did we just watch the cold, hard reality of the end of the Messi era? The storybook ending everyone seemed to want simply wasn't there. Instead, we got the harsh truth of an aging squad getting completely outmaneuvered by a far superior tactical system. Ultimately, Spain's victory is a powerful testament to the triumph of the system over the individual. They refused to get dragged into a muddy battle, they trusted their tactics, and they took home the ultimate prize. So, what does this mean for the future of international football? Are we looking at the definitive end of the traditional number 10? Will nations finally abandon the superstar-centric model for the strict, team-first blueprint Spain just perfected? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope this deep dive helped you see the beautiful game in a whole new, structured light.